Today is about us practicing dialogue that helps dig into data with an intentional inquiry process. And that inquiry process is going to help us help our school teams really discover what they can learn from the data, but also discover many other things. And we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. And then we're going to practice having that kind of inquiry dialogue. But I want to start out by just reminding us that the school performance profile is just a process by which we identify, lift up, capture, and use our understanding of the current state of the school around a particular focus area. So while the school performance profile could be used in a way to get a whole school picture of the current state of the whole school, we're using it specifically around a particular focus area. And the part that we are committed to for our schools, especially during this time of the COVID adaptations that they're making, is to let them be in charge of what that focus area is. We would hope that it would include literacy, if not be squarely centered on literacy. But even if it's not squarely centered on literacy, if it's focusing on how to get students engaged or how to manage the process of moving in and out of hybrid and face-to-face learning and online learning, that's fine too, because that's what they believe is their most critical focus area at this time. So once our school has the ability to name and be committed to a particular focus area, we can come alongside them and help them use this inquiry process we're going to practice today and make better use of the data that's available to them and create findings that are very specific statements about what we've learned as we look into the data through an inquiry process. And what we do with those statements is lift up the strengths that we have to build upon in a particular focus area, and then determine potential priority growth targets. Now, I know that we've had this conversation many times, but we also know that this is new behavior, new way of thinking. And so it's really important for us to always go back and remember, what is it we're trying to do? We're trying to help the school develop authentic, reliable, actionable statements of their current state. So they understand their strengths, they can build upon their strengths moving forward, and they can see all of their growth edges and start setting some priority growth targets. That's what this work is all about. So gathering the data just gets us ready. The school is full of data. The school is full of data displays, but it's what happens next that creates the school performance profile. And that's what we're going to practice today. The school performance profile is only as powerful as the inquiry we conduct. And as we conduct that inquiry, our process that we're going to practice today will help us capture what we can learn from the data that's in front of us, determine what is still not known, and then figure out how to conduct investigation around these new questions that we're raising to find actionable growth targets. So as we think about this, every data set's an opportunity for a data inquiry conversation. Every data set's an opportunity for discovering both what we know and what we don't know. Every data set is an opportunity to push deeper into understanding what's really going on with our students and find actionable growth targets. Will we find all the possible growth targets for students out of one data set? No, that's not the point. The point is to use the data available to us, conduct enough inquiries so that we know what we can and cannot get out of that data, and then move on both to apply what we've learned, but also keep learning through additional new data sets and new rounds of inquiry. This is a perfect process to incorporate into schools' PLC process, because it's small groups that have the best data inquiry conversations. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to put you into small groups and let you have data inquiry conversations. So what kind of conversations are we going to try to have? We're going to try to have conversations that are both appreciative. And what we know is the appreciative part of our inquiry process is where we can lift up strengths that are evident or at least hinted at in the data in front of us. But then we also, in these data dialogues, have questions that ask questions that get us deeper into the data. And we're calling those double loop questions. So what are double loop questions? There's many, many, many definitions for double loop conversation and questioning. But the definitions we're going to use are the following. We ask questions to uncover and test assumptions. And this is so important. If we're as committed as we say we are to issues of equity, we have to be able to get at underlying assumptions that we're bringing to the way we understand our students and the way we respond to them. Those underlying assumptions are so important for us to uncover where we're bringing some implicit bias to the way we understand our students and the way we respond to them. Double loop questions also help us look beyond the data, to not take the data so literally that we don't have meaningful conversation about what are all the variations of what that data could mean. And then using that conversation to move beyond what we already know, raise up new questions, new areas for inquiry, and in the process, both find actionable growth opportunities and keep the inquiry going. So while we can use a data set to learn some things, we can also use a data set to learn what we don't know and to foster further inquiry and further conversation. So we're going to use this process that we outlined when we gave you the survey data for your cohort A schools. And if you did not have a cohort A school, you may be seeing this for the first time. But this is simply taking a standard inquiry cycle and putting our appreciative and our double loop questions onto that cycle. That's why you see the little boxes, yellow boxes. What I've done is I've superimposed a lot of our appreciative and double loop questioning on top of a normal generic inquiry cycle so that we can see how to move through an inquiry cycle and really use double loop questioning to get at what's going on, get at what we can understand, get at what we don't know, and use what we don't know to generate further questions. If we ask enough questions, then data can start telling a really important story. And that's what the double loop and appreciative questions help us get at.